I'm Teisha with Shalom TV's news update for Tuesday, January the 14th, 2014. Israel's Air Force struck 2 targets in Gaza last night in response to rocket fire on southern Israel from Gaza earlier that evening. The rockets that hit southern Israel yesterday landed in open fields in the Sha'ar HaNegev Regional Council and did not cause any damage or injury. They landed shortly after the conclusion of the burial service of former Israeli Prime Minister Ariel Sharon in the nearby Sycamore Ranch in the Negev. The IDF reported that the IAF retaliation today targeted a military compound and a terror infrastructure site. Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu addressed Israel's Knesset on the occasion of its 65th birthday today. The Prime Minister used the opportunity to reiterate Israel's commitment to peace as well as to the partnership between Israel and the United States. Netanyahu said the U.S. is our greatest ally. We are partners in goals and joint interests, regional stability, the war on terror, growth, security, and peace. We are making efforts, he said, to bring security to the region and stand up for our interests. Netanyahu further said that even when there are disagreements with the U.S., they are always on the heart of the matter and not on the, quote, merits of an individual. This was apparently a reference to remarks allegedly made earlier by Israel's Defense Minister Moshe Ya'alon, who, according to a report in Yediot Aharonot, made some comments in private expressing skepticism about U.S. Secretary of State John Kerry's peace efforts in the region, saying that Kerry was acting out of, quote, messianic fervor and misplaced obsession. The unsourced Yediot piece said that Ayalon was concerned that the U.S. deal would not provide Israel with the security that it needs. Reuters reports that the U.S. State Department reacted to Ya'alon's alleged comments. State Department spokeswoman Jen Psaki said in a brief statement today, the remarks of the defense minister, if accurate, are offensive and inappropriate, especially given all that the United States is doing to support Israel's security needs. And the Jerusalem Post reports that Moshe Ya'alon reaffirmed his appreciation of the U.S.-Israel relationship today after his reported criticism of Kerry. Ya'alon said the relationship between Israel and the U.S. is intimate and of great importance to us. The U.S. is our greatest friend, and when we have differences of opinion, we work them out behind closed doors. Israel's President Shimon Peres also expressed his support to the U.S. at his address to the Knesset on its milestone today, where he thanked President Obama for his full responsiveness to our security and intelligence needs, and thanked John Kerry for his determined efforts to make peace. Peres said our deep friendship with the U.S. is a central component of Israel's security and an impetus for peace in the Middle East. In honor of the Knesset's 65th birthday, it held its annual open house, opening its doors today to the public. Knesset Speaker Yuli Edelstein said, "We're opening the Knesset to the public so it can get to know its representatives up close and to remind them that the Knesset is the house of the people and belongs to every citizen." And while the milestone was commemorated at the Knesset today, celebrations were toned down significantly this year following the death of former Israeli Prime Minister Ariel Sharon. U.S. Vice President Joe Biden met yesterday with Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu and President Peres in Jerusalem separately following his attendance at the funeral of former Israeli Prime Minister Sharon in an effort to push along the peace efforts. Meeting with Netanyahu, Biden addressed the situation with Iran as well as peace efforts between Israel and the Palestinians. Biden briefed Netanyahu on the U.S. interim agreement to curb Iran's nuclear program. A U.S. official told reporters aboard Biden's flight back to Washington, "It is safe to say that the issue of ensuring the continued enforcement of the sanctions architecture is an important priority for us, is an important priority for Israel, and was a subject of conversation." The official also said that the two leaders had a, quote, strategic conversation about how to achieve the goal of Israel and an eventual Palestinian state living side by side in peace and security. And in meeting with Israeli President Peres, Biden also addressed the current peace efforts. Biden said, "The president believes, and I believe, that this is one of those opportunities, one of those moments in history that have to be seized. There are difficult decisions," he said, "very difficult decisions, and I, like you, believe the Prime Minister is up to it." Peres welcomed the push towards peace with all its difficulty and challenges. He said to Biden, "I believe that our government, headed by Prime Minister Netanyahu, is taking it seriously. I believe the president of the Palestinian Authority is a serious partner and the right one. I believe there is a serious attempt," he said, "to make the right decision, and there is only one, two states for two peoples." Several plans honoring the late Prime Minister Ariel Sharon, who was laid to rest in Israel yesterday, are already underway. The Jewish National Fund, Keren Kayemet LeYisrael, announced plans to commemorate Sharon by naming a scenic trail in his honor. KKL-JNS said it would be naming the trail Derech Arik, or the Arik Trail in English, which will run about 60 kilometers and cross through Sharon's Sycamore Ranch in the Negev, also winding near the graves of both the Prime Minister and his wife Lily. The organization's co-chairman Eli Aflalo said, "From my acquaintance with Arik, I have no doubt that there is no path and place more fitting to commemorate the intense relationship he had with the land and with our beautiful country." And Limud FSU announced today that their upcoming conference in Belarus this summer will feature a special event in memory of Sharon, whose parents were born there. The event is expected to take place in Sharon's father's hometown city of Brest. Sharon's parents immigrated from Belarus to what was then Palestine in 1922, 6 years before his birth. This will be the second Limud FSU conference to be held in Belarus, and Sharon's sons Omri and Gilad are expected to attend. Limud FSU supports and reinforces Jewish education and identity to Jews from the former Soviet Union, the U.S., and Israel. The JTA reports that the head of the National Jewish Democratic Council has accused AIPAC, the American Israel Public Affairs Committee, and the American Jewish Committee of using, quote, strong-arm tactics to get a bill passed in the Senate that would enhance Iran sanctions. The bill currently has the support of 58 sponsors. It needs 67 to override President Obama's veto on the bill. In an interview with JTA, incoming director of the NJDC, Rabbi Jack Moline, criticized pushing the senators on the bill. He said it isn't the business of any organization to be setting up a litmus test on a piece of legislation. He accused the pro-Israel organizations of using strong-arm tactics, essentially threatening people that if they don't vote a particular way, that somehow that makes them anti-Israel or means the abandonment of the Jewish community. AJC's executive director David Harris told JTA he was shocked by Moline's allegations. Harris said, "We support the Iran sanctions bill, as do a bipartisan majority of U.S. senators." Further saying, can a group differ with him on a critically important issue like Iran, where potentially existential issues are at stake, without being maligned or misrepresented, or is that the price we're supposed to pay for honest disagreement? JTA reports that a spokesman for AIPAC declined to comment.
When I was a younger man, there was a song that was very popular.
The Jerusalem Post reports that former Israeli ambassador to the U.S., Michael Oren, already has a new job. Oren has reportedly joined CNN as an analyst and contributor. Oren served as Israel's envoy to Washington from July of 2009 until this past September. He told the Jerusalem Post that he saw the position as an opportunity to give balanced but insightful commentary on pressing Israeli and Middle East issues. Oren said that what made CNN appealing was not only its large U.S. audience, but its strong international reach too. Oren said in terms of getting the message across, it is quite a large and diverse audience.
And just about any field.
And turning to Shalom TV's programming for tonight, Tuesday, January the 14th, at 8 p.m., Israel's President Shimon Peres addresses the Jewish Federations of North America's General Assembly in Jerusalem. And then at 9 on L'Chaim, Mark Golub is joined by new Knesset member Dov Lipman of the Yesh Atid party, who offers his analysis of politics and life in Israel today, including the issue of the ultra-Orthodox in the IDF. That's tonight here on Shalom TV and ShalomTV.com. And that's Shalom TV's news update for Tuesday, January the 14th, 2014. I'm Teisha Bader.